full name is Ronnie Hugh Wall.
Texas Tech University fought for 4 years to keep this from happening. Luckily, they failed.
Why don't you get out of here?
Excuse me?
You're going to ride we don't want to ride the elevator with you.
Well, I'm going to ride it with you just because you said that. Fighting us in courtrooms across the state. First in Lubbock, where a judge accused the school of playing word games to try to hide public records. That Lubbock judge suddenly recused himself without explaining why. Every other hometown judge recused themselves too. A judge in Amarillo eventually got the case suggesting the university mediate with us and Coach Leach, and then he recused himself. The Attorney General, he tried everything but the kitchen sink to keep Texas Tech lawyer Ronnie Wall from having to sit down for sworn questions. Wait till you see how hard they fought, actually wanting Wall's testimony kept secret for life. A judge said no. You said that I was going to use this deposition as a weapon of mass destruction. What do you mean by that?
As a general rule, government transparency is important.
Why is Ronnie Wall so important in this fight for justice for Mike Leach? He's the lawyer who decided what this powerful West Texas university would let taxpayers ever see under the Texas Public Information Act about his firing.
The purpose of the Open Records Act?
What's the purpose of it?
It's for the public to be able to see, I guess, the government documents.
And why is that important?
So that the public can know what their government is doing.
After all, Texans spent $169 million last year paying for the education here. You've been busted twice for overcharging us for records. Do you just pull these numbers out of the air? Coach Mike Leach was illegally fired. His reputation wrongly trashed more than a decade ago.
We came because we love Coach Leach. We feel he's been wronged by Texas Tech University.
Cheated out of a year's salary, $2.6 million, a debt Texas Tech should pay.
You know, everybody talks about Washington and politicians in the swamp. Well, they have their own swamp right there.
Tech weaseled out of paying Coach Leach at the time they fired him, using a 100-plus-year-old law that allows the state government sovereign immunity, a way to cheat employees and contractors they don't want to pay. They don't think you have a right to know the truth. If you were cheated out of money, wouldn't you want to see the records? Since our investigation began, Tech has only widened its campaign of secrecy. Take something that doesn't have a single thing to do with Mike Leach, the school's honesty about the number of sexual assaults of young female students. Tech lied about the numbers and is now hiding many of the records, claiming they're somehow related to the Mike Leach firing.
So it is your position that a request about sexual assaults on campus could be related to Coach Leach's termination?
Conceivably, yes.
But even the school's lawyer can't explain what sure sounds like more word salad.
The term related is very broad. It's a lot broader than relevant, and so I can't even tell you exactly what related means because it's very broad.
Wall confessed the obvious strategy at this public university. Find any way you can to keep your records a secret from the folks paying the bill. What a great lesson for the students at Tech and their parents, don't you think?
Just a general policy of, if it can be withheld, then we'll send it to the Attorney General and see if we can withhold it.
It's sad. From the very beginning, Texas Tech has tried to hide the truth about the Mike Leach firing. We know a lot of this from records accidentally released by the Attorney General that Tech was trying to hide from us. That's how we know sworn statements may have been coerced. That's how we know there's none of the other complaints from students the school claimed they had. And that's how we know much of the conspiracy of Chancellor Ken Hance and a few regents to fire the coach. We had to return the documents weeks later by court order, and Judge Davis says they should remain a secret forever. But we took really good notes. Tech had promised outraged fans and donors a complete investigation. Now say they didn't provide a critical email to us when we first asked, because the investigation was interrupted when Leach went to court for the right to coach that important playoff game.
The actual report was not finished because of the litigation kicking off.
We know there was even criticism of the Tech employee who did the investigation at the time.
Using extremely profane language, Coach Leach instructed an athletic trainer to put the student in a place so dark that he would not be able to see and that he was instructed to stand for the entire practice.
After months of denials by Tech, we finally found that document too. It was an email Tech had tried to hide. Charlotte Bingham recently retired from Tech, but we found her in Maine. Her sworn deposition now scheduled weeks from now.
I'm done. I've retired. I've moved. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
It's simple. We want to know if Ronnie Wall is telling the truth about his alleged searches for our records. He would have needed Bingham's help to search her records, and she's not the only one who has to testify.
So if you need to run a search across the system-wide emails, you would go to IT?
Yes,
Who in IT would you go to?
Sam Seagren.
So trying to reach more students outwards and also engaging with the community.
But he's not engaging with us. Sam Seagren is a vice president at Tech.
Hi, I'm looking for Sam, please.
Has he reached out to you?
Nope, I'm calling him for comment regarding communications about Dolcefino Consulting, email communications. He'll know what I'm calling about.
We offered him a chance to talk to us for this report, but the Attorney General's office got mad, said we can't do that in the middle of a lawsuit. What Texas Tech has done in the last few weeks, after 4 years of litigation, is very telling. They're now telling us we can't see those Wall-Seagren emails. If they exist, why hide them? We now know Tech is hiding more records. Can I come to Texas Tech? We're here in Lubbock. Can I come look at all the Mike Leach records? I mean, it's been 13 years. Don't you guys think he has a right to see? 15 boxes of Leach records that Wall claims were repeatedly reviewed, sometimes by students, for reasons to keep them secret. We just want to see the rest. But Tech lawyers said no to that too. We finally know that some of the Leach records from that time were destroyed in the office of former Chancellor Kent Hance. Kent Hance was allowed to get rid of all his records. Did he violate retention laws? Did you even ask? Why was the chancellor allowed to do that? That blocked our attempt to find out more about Kelly Overly, a Texas Tech official who worked very closely with Hance. Or Jody Arrington, now a congressman in West Texas. The emails of now former employees just disappear when they leave. Rather than simply pay the debt, Tech has chosen a more swollen bureaucracy to hide records. When we began our investigation, the Texas Tech system had one lawyer handling a request for public information.
Have the number of requests received by Texas Tech increased since 2018?
Yes.
Wall says it's now 12 lawyers involved. The swollen legal bureaucracy has taken $1.3 million that could have been spent on students.
What do you attribute that to?
Dolcefino, for one.
Appreciate the shout out, but it's money wasted. The truth should be free. Judge Paul Davis has a decision to make. Will he stand up for transparency? The public's right to know depends on it. I'm just going to tell you guys all this. You can pass it on to all the bosses. We're never going away until we get all of his records. Okay? Never. You're hiding all these records. You're hiding all these records. Do you believe in the public right to know?